Welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. My name is Jerry Snyder. As a health, wellness, and sports performance coach, my goal each week is to bring you experts to help you take control of your health and build your self-confidence. Thanks for including me today on your journey to better health. I want to say thank you to Social Media Cowboys for sponsoring this week's episode of the Confidence Through Health podcast. If you need help with a website, if you need social media needs for your business, if you need help with AdWords, SEO, all those things that you know you should be doing, but you are too busy to do or you're too confused about, they are the experts that you need in your corner. If you're interested in launching a podcast, such as mine, they help me edit my podcast and do a fantastic job making sure that all of the technical side of it is handled and we launch a nice, neat, edited podcast episode each week. So I want to thank Social Media Cowboys for their continued sponsorship of the Confidence Through Health podcast. You can find them at socialmediacowboys.com, or you can find them as well with other sponsors at confidencethroughhealth.com. So thank you, Udo, for being a guest on the Confidence Through Health podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I love doing this.
So when I started researching about you, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for this conversation because you have a wealth of knowledge. You have a journey of life that obviously is unique to you, right? But it's a journey that, as I was reading about it and learning about the things that you've done, I'm like, there's so much that people can learn from someone like you. And, so at the core, like without going like too much history, because I know people can go to your website and read about you, but like, what is it that you think drives that internal for you, that internal, like, I need to seek more, wisdom, more answers to the questions that I have?
Honestly, I would have to say it's the gift of having been born in the middle of a war.
Okay.
And what happened, my parents came from Latvia and Estonia. Mm-hmm. And when Hitler and Stalin did their non-aggression pact, Latvia went to the Soviet Union and part of Poland went to Germany. Right. And he had German background. My mother had Swedish background. Okay. And he hated communism because it took everything away from you. Mm-hmm. So he ended up going to Poland and getting a farm. And the farmer who owned the farm became his farmhand. Okay. And so that was a little tense. Yeah. And so he said, look, we're living in crazy times. Let's just run the farm the way the farm's supposed to be run, and we'll sort it out at the end when this craziness settles out. Yeah. And what happened in the process, we lost the culture, we lost the neighborhood, we lost the farm, we lost the animals, we lost the fields, right. We lost the house, we lost the dishes, we lost, we lost the language, we lost, basically right. We lost everything except the clothes we wore, the body we're in, and the life inside that body. Yeah. And when you get all of that stripped from you, and that's hard, because you grow up in a culture Americans are very, I would say they're very, you could say entitled, mm-hmm. Because we think highly of ourselves. Every culture right. does, but you come into a culture and you're used to this culture, and it's a culture that was developed by people who fought for it, mm-hmm. who went through hardship to do it, and we don't have the hardship. Yeah. And I think a childhood spent in hardship is probably the best preparation for a better adult life. Right. Because you have to learn to be resilient. Mm-hmm. So I say war as a gift. It stripped everything. So I had to start from scratch. Yeah. There wasn't anything. I didn't believe in the culture, and I didn't believe in the nation, and I didn't believe in any of that. I had to ask the question, what is my life about? And at one point I was in Germany, 6 years old, and I listened to adults argue really intensely mm-hmm. about stuff that sounded to me as a 6-year-old really trivial. It's just like, why are you arguing about that? Just who cares? But they'd be so into it. And it made me uneasy because I was very shy and never felt safe. Yeah. Right. And so when the voices got raised, I didn't feel safe. Right. I felt like, and this thought occurred to me, man, there must be a way that people can live in harmony. And this little cocky voice. Yeah. I'm going to find out how. 6 years old, don't know how complicated everything is. I'm going to find out. And I became like a scientist. You know, I'm born scientist because I didn't understand everything. And every day what people said was the truth, changed. So it's confusing.
Oh, yeah.
So I always felt like I had a need to understand how things work, because when you know how things work, you get a reliability, you get a security from knowing, because you can anticipate, right? That's what science is about, predict and control.
Right.
So I did lots of experiments as a kid, banging everything against everything else, see what was stronger. And I broke a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I got punished quite a bit for my inquisitive destructiveness, you might say, right? It's always easier to break things down than to put them back together. And I never put anything back together, right? So then I got into science. And then I got into biosciences, because life is like, you can't live on this planet and see everything that's alive and how incredible it is.
Yeah.
And not be wanting to know more about it.
Right.
So I went into biology. I wanted to know what life is. I thought we would end up with a beaker that would half full with something liquid and shining. That's how I pictured life. And we say, wow, there's life.
Yeah.
Well, we never got that beaker. We learned about form and function. In biology, you do not study life.
Yeah.
You study form and function.
Right.
Then I went into psychology. Study of soul is what the word means.
Yep.
We didn't study soul. We studied thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and a little bit of physiology, brain physiology.
Sure. Yep.
Right? Behavioral psychology, or what's it called? Psychological physiology, or physiological psychology. That's what it was called. Yeah. So, and then I went into medicine because I wanted to know what health is, because we call it healthcare. Well, we did only study disease.
Yeah.
And so I went back into biological sciences, ended up in biochemistry and genetics, because I knew that in biology, at least you're studying normal functioning in normal situations in normal organisms.
Yeah.
That's somewhere close to health.
Right.
In medicine, when I asked the dean, what is health? He said, we don't know, we're working on it. And they're not even working on it because they're always focused on disease.
Yeah.
And they don't actually, if they could give you a formula for health, you wouldn't need them anymore.
Right.
Because you then put the formula in practice. So the whole system depends on you not knowing what health is.
Right.
And then you become a victim of it, and then they throw stuff at you. And there's nobody who has ever died from a pharmaceutical drug deficiency, because they're poisons that don't belong in the body. That's why that's why they have side effects.
Yeah.
So basically, you want to know how to live? Look at nature. How was it in nature? Fresh, whole, raw, organic, local. Yeah. That's how every creature eats.
Yeah.
And then you look at your kitchen and your cupboards and your fridge, and what do you got in there? How close is every item in there to fresh, whole, raw, organic, and local? And then that gives you an idea of how far you've departed from the physical aspects of health.
Yeah.
Because life invented health in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And health is only possible if you live in line with nature and your nature.
Right.
And we don't study our nature at all.
No, we don't.
What we really are. Thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
You know, I have a friend who says, the ability to think is God's gift to you, but what you think about is your gift to yourself.
Oh,
and it's like, oh man, that's so cool.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so what do we think about? Yeah. Everything stupid.
Yeah.
Everything that's wrong in the world. The news is all about what's wrong. Yep. You know, the news, if the news wanted to do it, they could teach health and have it in everybody's household in one evening.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe over the course of a week, you know, get into different pieces. And so we don't get that in our education. So we have to figure it out for ourselves, or we have to go outside the mainstream to figure out, to maybe go to nature. Because like what I do is like when I have an issue, I will always say, well, how was it in nature before we got civilized? Because that's where the standards was set. Nature set the standard. Life set the standard. God set the standard. The sun set the standard. Yeah. You know, the planet set the standards. Mm-hmm. And we live within those standards. But because we have a mind that animals and plants don't have, we have a mind that can get out of line with nature.
Right.
And that's where a lot of our problems come from.
Right. No, it's very true. Every time that I have anything come up as far as an illness or and typically I don't get sick very often, but sometimes I mean, I haven't had a headache in over a decade. But there's, oh man, I feel off today. Something's wrong, or my emotions are in one of the first things I do is okay, let me go outside. Let me figure out like what part of nature needs to be, what am I missing? Right? Like, am I missing a nutrient that's going to balance me out? Am I missing that exercise piece? I haven't done that yet today, or because there's so much more when you're connected with who you are, both from the mental emotional side of it, but also physically, you're connected to who you are. It makes it so much easier to find those answers, right?
Hmm. Well, except not only physically and mentally, but then there's an energetic aspect of it. It's called
Right.
life. That's
Yeah.
energy, pure energy. Never
Yeah.
gets sick, never dies. And its nature is unconditional love for your body.
Right.
So if you could tap into that, and that's actually who you are.
Right.
I'll pull that together in a sense.
Yeah.
It's solar energy, so you are
Mhm.
sunshine, a fraction of sunshine,
Yep.
right? It's unconditional love. It's the master in your body. It knows everything, runs
Yeah.
everything, all powerful, all knowing, and everywhere present in your body.
Yeah.
But when your focus is on that, you're not having a bad day. You actually feel unconditionally loved and cared for.
Right.
And then you go behind that a little deeper, and then you're in the realm of awareness. And awareness is, I think, probably, well, awareness is like you have to feel it. You
Right.
can't even, if you talk awareness, the word is not the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That awareness, when you have that awareness at the core of your being, and you literally have to take still time, where you sit down and you shut up and you leave your distractions outside and you say, okay, how still can I become?
Mhm.
And how deep can I go into that stillness? And how long can I hang out there? And what do I discover when I go there and I breathe lightly and evenly and slowly? What do I discover? What is there? And in that awareness is total peace.
Right.
Total peace. And when you recognize, when you get to that within you, then you recognize, oh, that peace is not limited to my body. That peace is actually, I'm a core, I'm a center for it, and so are you, and so is every other point in space. But from there, that peace radiates out in all directions, out to infinity.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call that? Might be an experience of God.
Right.
Field.
Right.
Peace is somebody said once, peace is the fragrance of God.
Oh, nice.
When you feel that peace, honestly, you never have a bad day in peace or the unconditional love that unfolds within it.
Right.
Right.
And so the person that, because I've talked to people about like, I can't do that because my brain never shuts off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, oh, I can't ever do that because I've always got something running through my head. My brain never shuts off.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a mistake. That's a misunderstanding of how that works.
Right.
Because your brain, your thinking mind, its job is to correlate all your experiences and turn them into something that is consistent with your personality. Right. That's its job.
Yeah.
Right. And every day you have different things going on. And every night while you're sleeping, it's rearranging them, integrating them into your personality. Right. That's an important job.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and it will continue to do that. And it doesn't matter what you do, that's its job, right. And it will continue to do its job.
Yeah.
Right? But and that's happening in the cortex of your brain, mostly cortex and maybe subcortex, right?
Yeah.
So that happens in your brain, but it's not happening in your kneecap, and it's not happening in your butt, and it's not happening in your toes, and it's not happening in your shoulders, and it's not happening in your neck, and it's not happening in your breath, and it's not happening in your circulatory system, right? Yeah. So when you bring your focus anywhere in your body other than in your mind, you're actually not paying attention to what your mind is doing as its job. You don't have to be
yeah.
paying attention to it. See,
Yeah.
we think we have to be listening to our head. Why? It's doing its job, right? And you can be enjoying the beauty of life, including the beauty of your brain doing what it does.
Right.
But you can move your focus, and that's the issue. Everything is about moving your focus to where you want, to what you want to experience. If you want peace, you've got to bring your focus to the core of your being.
Right.
Breathing helps, because breathing takes you out of your head and puts you into your, right? So breathing is obviously, every stillness practice has a breathing aspect to it.
Yeah.
And you can push your breath like Wim Hof does,
right,
and to get yourself to accomplishments. But what if you just focus on breathing and being, and being cool and not doing anything?
Yeah.
And what does it feel like to be alive? Without any, oh yeah, there got to be an accomplishment behind it. No, the accomplishment is that nature made you. That's the accomplishment. You are a magnificent creature.
Yeah.
Right? How about you enjoy the gift?
Right.
And it's just for yourself.
Yeah.
And then because you feel good, then how you live into the world changes. Right. Because, oh my God, you see the peace everywhere. Oh wow, there's peace everywhere in the world all the time.
Yep.
Well, let me live into peace. And what can I put into peace that maintains that builds that, because if you're angry, then you're going to see enemies everywhere. And even if there aren't any, you'll create them.
Yeah.
Because of your mindset.
Yeah.
Or if you're afraid, you'll see danger, even where there isn't any. What if there's an asteroid that's barreling down at 18,000 miles and it's going to hit my house?
Yeah.
I just made that up.
Right.
Right. And we make stuff like that up all the time, right?
All the time.
What if you just say, okay, I just want to be here.
Yeah.
My focus in the feeling of awareness, in the feeling of love, in the feeling of inspired purpose, which is the shine of that life energy into the world.
Right.
When I feel cared for, it's not about me anymore. I have everything. And then I look around and say, I'm not saying, what can I do to make more money?
Right.
What can I do that'll get me taken care of? Because I am taken care of. If I don't feel taken care of, I know where to put my focus, where the care is, inside. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, what's left to do? There's nothing left to do on this planet other than help.
Right.
Where can I help? What needs to be done? How can I make the biggest splash for good that's possible in the time that I have? Right. And getting set up, going back to the beginning, getting set up by having everything stripped for me as a kid, put me in a position where I didn't have to undo all of my culture misrepresentations, because a lot in culture is bullshit. Yeah. A lot, so, I mean, and I came to the conclusion the other day, you know what? We talk about the family and the nation all the time. Those are like big triggers, right? Right. Knee-jerk, right? Yep. Patriotism, family, right? Yeah. But you know what? Peace is actually more important than family. Oh, yeah. Because if you don't have peace, if you don't give peace priority, your family is going to be a war zone. Right. If you don't give peace priority, your nation is going to be in a war zone. And look around. I mean, I don't know, and who's practicing peace? Where I live, we spent, I don't know how many, like $16 billion on the war in the Ukraine. Yeah. We spent $0 on peace at home. Right. Why are we not making peace that we claim to want to live in? Mm-hmm. Why are we not making that a priority for our focus? Right. Like Lenin said, what if they called a war and nobody came? Because they were busy practicing peace, because they thought that peace was a better idea than war. Yeah. Right. Well, and it's, in when you look at health, right. And what, the government has proposed over the years as this is the healthy way to live. And like you said, the healthcare system is confusing. And it's a disease management system that, is, and you can ask probably anybody on the street, how are you supposed to eat? What's the healthiest way to eat? And they're gonna be like, I don't know, I'm confused. There's so much information out there. I don't know what to follow. Yeah. That's
right?
the downside of free speech. You get to say what you want, even if it's not true.
Right.
The upside is you get to say what you want, and the downside is it doesn't have to be true.
Right. But part of it is if you're unhealthy, it's harder for you to find that peace because your body's in conflict with itself.
Nope.
No?
Nope. You could be completely wrecked.
Okay.
The awareness that is the peace, that is the core of your being, is not affected.
Okay.
And the love, that is the energy, that is unconditional love, that is the master in your body, is not affected. Never gets sick, never dies, either one of those. But it might be harder for you to focus, and your life, which is your essence, and your body will part company earlier. Right. So you'll have less time.
Right.
But you can't actually, you could be any shape. If, like, we were really poor when I was a kid. I don't ever remember feeling poor.
Right.
Ever. My sister did, because she compared herself to other people. Because we didn't have money. We were refugees. I was an orphan for a while, right?
Yeah.
I always had something that I was doing, right? So I always had a project. So I never compared myself. I was just looking for, like, to enjoy, to understand, to appreciate.
Right.
She was saying, oh, we don't have this, and the people who weren't refugees, they have more.
Yeah.
And so for her, it was an issue. For me, it was never an issue.
Okay.
Right. And so, and it doesn't matter how sick you are, and you may be on the point of checking out.
Right.
The life energy, that is solar energy, fraction of solar energy, I'll get to that in a second, is not changed a bit, even if your body is racked with cancer.
Okay.
That may be mental,
right,
about how you think, it may be physical, about how you eat and what you do, but the life energy itself never gets cancer. Cancer happens begins. Yeah. Every illness begins at the level of interactions between molecules. And when you get the wrong molecules in there, or you get the wrong thinking that interferes, that can interfere, then that's where you begin body breakdown.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
Now, so let me go back to...
So it's the energy's always there.
Yeah.
And it's not changed or affected by the illness or the disease.
Correct.
But your ability to get to that could be impacted. Your ability to feel and that awareness could be impacted.
I know people who have cancer and they're terminal, and they have no problem going to that place.
Okay.
And the reason why is because they've learned to take their focus there, and you get better at focusing with time, with practice. Right. I've been doing this focus for 52 years. I started when I was 30. There was something missing in my life. I had some very powerful experiences that became memories. Right. And then my question was, how do I stay in this presence that I experienced that was profoundly healing? Yeah. How do I stay in that? And that took me to somebody who said, the peace you search for in the world, this is good for me as a war baby, right? The peace you search for in the world is within you, and I can reveal you that peace. And I said, well, he was 14, I was 30. I said, what's a 14-year-old going to teach me? I've been around, so I get like,
Right.
And I thought, okay, but I wouldn't want to miss it in case he can. I don't think he can, and if he can't, I'll just keep looking, but I'll check it out. I wouldn't want to miss it if he can. Yeah. And he showed me a method. I thought the method was too simple, but I promised to give it a fair chance. Yeah. And within 6 months, I noticed that when I practiced the method, I felt calmer. Nice. I had more peace. And so, I realized, okay, well, this actually works. So I've been now doing it for 52 years. And I'm pretty good now at going there. Yeah. Pretty good. And I'm pretty clear how omnipresent it is. Right. And how easy it is to go there once I've learned how to do that and have committed to doing that practice. Yeah. The reason why we have a hard time getting there is because we had a hard time getting there before we got cancer too. Sure. Because we never, and why is that? Because we never understood what heartache is. Right. Heartache, there's lots of triggers. Yep. Somebody dumps you, get heartache.
Yeah.
Somebody betrays your trust, you get heartache. Your dog dies, you get heartache.
Yeah.
You know, your grandmother dies, you get heartache. There's so many ways we get heartache.
Right.
Or you set a goal and you hope that when you reach the goal, you'll be fulfilled. You get the goal, you accomplished the goal. You got 3 days of, yeah, I did it, I did it, I did it. And then on day 4 is
what's left?
Didn't do it. It didn't do it. Oh
Right.
shit. What do I? Oh no. Oh, I must do something else. Right.
Yep.
So heartache has lots of triggers, but the trigger is not the cause of heartache. The cause of heartache is the normal, natural, necessary disconnection of your focus from being present inside in the peace and the love to getting present outside in the world you needed to get to know after you were born to survive. Right? And then you ended up out there, and heartache began with that disconnection. So heartache in its essence is your life calling your focus to come back home to its source inside, to love and to peace. That's what heartache is. So people don't like heartache. They try to distract themselves from it.
Yeah.
What I say to them is, when you have heartache, don't look for it. You always get it.
Yeah, it'll find you.
You know, there's things happen every day that get you, right?
Yeah.
So don't look for it, but when you have it, sit with it and sit quietly with it and just feel it.
Yeah.
And allow it and be with it and don't judge it. Just be with it, feel it, accept it, appreciate the power that it has to get you out of your head. Remember that head that's always going? It actually pulls you out, it grounds you, takes you out of your head, makes you simple. It's also your heart calling your focus to come back home to life, to you know, whatever you call it, to life, to nature, to God, whatever it is, right? And it's the starting point for that journey. Yeah. And it's the only starting point. You can't find your way around it. You have to go through it. And that far behind it, like less than a hair's breadth behind it, is your wholeness. Yeah. And then the heartache goes away because you've reconnected your focus with yourself, right? Yeah. And then on top of that, once you feel that, then you're going to get sloppy again, and your focus is going to drift again, and then the heartache will come back and remind you, you need to come home. You want all the goodies from life. You got to come home. Right. It's the homework, right? Yeah. The work we do at home. There's no work. It's just like, right. So, so let me talk a little bit about life. Yeah. This is a planet that is run by solar energy. Right. True. Yep. Okay. So 93 million miles. There's a thing made out of light, 15 million degrees Celsius. Right. So you don't want to get too close to it. Right. It'll fry your toes. Yeah. Right. So it's filtered. Solar energy is filtered through 93 million miles of space. Then it's filtered through Earth's atmosphere. Right. Then it's filtered through plants, mostly green plants. And the fraction that remains of that solar energy excites electrons. They then bond atoms to make molecules. Right. And that solar fraction is stored in those bonds. You eat those as food, those molecules, some of them, right? Right. And in your cells, those bonds are broken. The solar energy is released. That's the energy you live on. Right. That is your life energy. So solar energy fraction is now called life energy. Right. And that life energy is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient in your body. It is the master of your body. It runs everything, weighs nothing, but runs everything. Right. And runs it by a genetic program that it developed over time. Right. Right? Damn good program. Yeah. Because when life began, if you believe that life began once and just developed in many different directions to have what we have now, there's an unbroken line of successes between the beginning of that 4.3 billion years ago and you now. If there was one failure to reproduce in that entire line of 4.5 billion years, you would not be here. Right. So imagine what you're heir to. how much success you're heir to.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now, the other thing is, if I say to you, hey, Jerry, whose body is that? What is your answer?
Well, it's actually, it's not mine.
Okay.
Because it's the,
but most people would say this is my body.
Most people say it's my body, but okay. I know it's that what's keeping me alive is the bacteria, nature, and the energy that I get throughout the day.
Okay.
That is, and that's why I'm like, I've changed the way I partially from research and partially from interviewing people like you, I've changed the way I eat based on like, I want to feed the stuff inside of me, not necessarily feed me. Because if I feed the stuff inside of me and it's good and happy, then that's going to make me even better.
Yeah. All right. So let me finish this story, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you say, okay, it's my body. So you know what you've just said? You've said that you're not the body. You're the owner of the body. If it's my body, I'm the owner of the body.
Right.
So, and then the question is, well, who am I if I'm not the body? Who am I as owner of the body? And the answer to that is, well, I am life.
Right.
So I am that energy. I am that solar energy fraction. I am an energy that is formless and indestructible. And that is the energy that is the master. So I am actually the master in my essence. I don't live like that, but that's what I am. And when body and life part company, I actually go with the energy, not with the body.
Right.
And then the body's just turned back into dust, water, and air that it was made from, and then is recycled, and I'll show up, or that body will show up as a tomato or an eggplant or a blade of grass or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And the energy becomes invisible to the physical senses, but that energy doesn't disappear. You can't just you cannot unexist something that exists. Right. Energy exists. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So every human being on this planet, in their essence, is that master energy, that is solar energy. And it doesn't matter what their religion is, or what their culture is, or what their race is, or what their gender is, or how old they are, or whatever they think is true, what culture they belong to, what philosophy they have. Independent of all of that, every human being is a fraction of solar energy in their individual essence. And in their universal essence, out of which everything comes, including the entire galaxy and the entire universe, and each one of us, in our universal essence, we are peace.
Right.
Now, so here we are. We are wired for peace and love and inspired purpose.
Yep.
We're wired for it.
Yeah.
We are that in our essence, and hardly anybody looks at it.
Right.
And why? Because we don't understand that heartache is our call home. And so we don't come home and we live out there in reaction to everything. And if we don't cultivate peace and love, sound like a hippie, but but if you don't cultivate peace and love that are in reality your essence, then you're always heading toward destruction.
Right.
And you can look at the world and how worse it is now than it was 10 years ago, and how much crazier people are getting. And it's because we're not doing our homework. And if we don't do our homework, we will destroy everything. No question in my mind at all.
Oh yeah. No, I fully believe that.
Yeah, and we think, we have to make arms, and we spend all this money and do all this. So much effort goes into doing that. And no effort goes into what we would need to do in order not to need any arms.
Right.
Right. No energy goes into that at all.
Yeah.
It's like, and then we think the peace that we want, because we kind of all want to have peace in our lives too, right? Well, we think that peace will just somehow drift on us without any effort on our part. How stupid is that? That is the stupidest thing I've ever come across.
Right.
Human beings are so stupid.
Yep.
So magnificent, and yet so stupid in how we live. What if 8 billion people did that homework?
Right.
What would be the quality of life on this planet?
Yeah.
when everybody felt loved because the love is their nature, and then they just did what they could to help everybody else get there too.
Right.
Without hammering them, without threatening them. You don't have to do that. You just have to say, hey, something in you is calling you home.
Right. Well, and when we ignore that, right, when we ignore that, we're storing that negative energy, that negative feeling, because we didn't deal with it.
Yeah.
And so that's adding to whether it's a physical sickness, a mental sickness, or emotional issues that then at some point are going to come out. Right.
For sure. For sure. In fact, what we do with heartache, because we don't understand that that's just a call to come home. Right. We went out after we were born. I'll talk about pregnancy in a second. Right. So we don't pay attention to it. We don't know what it is. Right. So what do? Well, either we ignore it, or we try to explain it away by some cockamamie mental concoction, right?
Right.
Or we ignore it, or we deny it. Oh, I'm not feeling that. Or we distract ourselves from it. And what distraction? Whatever it takes, because it's uncomfortable. Because it's uncomfortable to feel your heartache, right? Or we blame it on somebody. Oh, the reason why my life is not working is because of all those immigrants.
Right.
Or because of, the people who are Republicans, or the people who are Democrats, or the people who are whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So we blame somebody for it. And then that excuses us being destructive to them.
Right.
When actually heartache is our own disconnection from ourselves. It's necessary, natural, normal. Right. Now, how does it happen? When you were in your mother's womb, when we were in our mother's womb, there was nothing to do. There was nowhere to go.
Right. Yeah.
Everything was taken care of.
Yep.
It was pretty safe. The boringest possible thing you could imagine, and we weren't bored.
Right.
Doing nothing does not mean you have to be bored.
Yeah.
It just means we were in bliss.
Right.
Because our focus had no place to go. So our focus was at rest, inside, in its source, in life, and beyond that, in awareness.
Right.
So we were hanging out with the focus inside, in light, in bliss. There was maybe a little sound. We had no words. We had no culture.
Right.
We had no religion. We didn't know there was a mother around us. We didn't know there was a world around the mother.
Right.
We had no ideas. We had no beliefs. We had no aspirations, because we were just hanging out, and life was making the body. Or we could say we were making the body. We as life were making the body. And the body was growing according to the genetic program into what the body became. And then one day we got kicked out of paradise.
Right.
So we got born.
Yeah.
And then we had to get to know the world to survive, because inside there was no survival issue, because it was everything was, first there was a safety around us, and then there was everything that the body needed was provided through the umbilical cord. Right. I mean, if you think about it, it's immaculate.
Yeah.
Conception is immaculate. Pregnancy is immaculate. It's unbelievable. That's like the miracle of that creation. Yeah. Is unbelievable. And it all happens in bliss and love.
Right.
Right. And so then we came out, and then what happened? We went from being present inside in our focus and absent outside. We gradually went more and more present outside in our focus and absent inside.
Yeah.
And that disconnection is where heartache began.
Right.
And heartache is just a call to come home.
Yeah.
It's all it is. It's all it's ever been.
Right.
Right. Lots of things trigger it, because when we get distracted, when we go out there, we've forgotten that what we're looking for is inside of us. So we're looking for it. Oh, $1 million. Oh, if I get the girl. Oh, if I get the guy. Oh, if if I can be famous. Oh, if I can, get trademarked shoes, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
Always
right?
looking for something. Yeah.
Oh, if I can start a nude beach. That was one of mine in the 60s.
Yeah.
Right. And if whatever, and then we create a goal.
Yeah.
In the hope that will get us feeling whole again. And it never, ever, ever, ever does, because it never, ever, ever can.
Yeah.
Because the reconnection we're looking for, the wholeness, the oneness, the calm, the peace, the fulfillment that we're looking for is already within us.
Mm-hmm.
And we only need to reconnect our focus to it within us.
Yeah.
That's why stillness practice. That's why meditation. That's why self-knowledge.
Right.
That's why mindfulness, but mindfulness inside, outside too, but inside too. Right. That's why those are so important. And only human beings need those stillness practices, because the trees never leave their presence. They're just inside all the time. They're just hanging out, right?
Yep.
The animals go out into the world, but they come back to inside their body. Mm-hmm. And we go outside and then go into our head,
right,
with memories and concepts.
Yeah.
Right. And so to get from the concepts back to our heart, our physical, our not physical, our reality of existence.
Right.
We have to find some way of getting from the head to the heart. And you don't want to take the head with you, because it's supposed to be up here doing what it does. Yeah. You just bring the focus in.
Right.
So where your focus goes, that's what creates your reality. Right. So you focus, like in science, if you focus on, like I focused on oils, that's what I'm known for. I focused on oils. And because I focused on oil, I learned a lot about oils.
Sure.
And I listened, and I remember being on a bus one time, and I got really obsessed with oils because of the damage that's done to them and the problems they cause. And so I'm in the process of trying to understand all that, because I didn't start by understanding it, but I got obsessed with it because I read a study that said omega-6 is an essential nutrient that you have to have and you can't make. And if you don't get enough, you die. Mm-hmm. And if you make sure you get enough, then whatever the problems are that come from not getting enough are reversed. Life reverses those. Okay. So I read that study and said, okay. Next study I read says omega-6 gives you cancer and kills you.
Right.
And I'm going, WTF? Right? My head just exploded. It's like, well, what do you mean? I have to have it so it can kill me?
Right.
It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Right? Yeah. And then it was like looking for that, because I was obsessed with it, made me look deeper. And when I looked deeper, I discovered some more stuff, which is that it's the damage we do to oils that causes the problem. Don't blame the oils for the damage. Don't blame the oils for the product. So the problems that should be blamed on the damage done by processing or by food use in the frying pan, right? So whatever you focus on, you become good at. You putz around in the garden, you might become a pretty good gardener, right? Yep. You hang out in the woods, you might become a pretty good forester. Right. Whatever it is you hang around with people and listen to all the things they say, you might become a pretty good teacher or psychologist or a facilitator of meetings. Right. So literally what you focus on, and it's usually what interests you focus on. That's why you say you weren't a good student, right? Right. Because your focus was elsewhere. So you became good at something other than being either a student or after that a teacher. Right. So what you focus on is what you become competent at. Yeah. So you want to become competent on peace or love or whatever it is that makes culture sustainable or your country sustainable or your life sustainable or your family sustainable, then focus on that. Yeah. Because with time, you'll just get better at it. Right. That's just how it works.
Right.
Right.
Well, and when your focus is so distracted by so many other things, then you never do come back from and I would imagine if you're in that position, you're getting this negative report or that negative report or seeing these negative things from these people, or whether it's the national news or people locally, like And if your focus is always getting those negative hits, and you're never coming back to your own heartache or broken heart, and like centering yourself in who you are, I would think it's pretty easy to get like 2 or 3 years down the road and go like, I don't know what I'm doing or who I am or what makes me happy.
Yeah. And of course it's like that, and it's even geared to get your attention. So it's always change, and it's always crisis, and it's always survival. That is the thing, because that pulls you out through your senses, pulls your focus out through your senses to deal with it. Is this friend? Is this foe? Is this irrelevant? Right? You have to do that pretty quick. So when you do that, you end up living in reaction to everything. But most of those things that we're told about, oh my God, next pandemic's coming. Oh my God, the next climate change thing is coming. Oh my God, we're at the edge of disaster.
Yeah.
And then you get involved in that, and it may actually not be true. Some of that is manufactured, because by people who want more control or more of whatever power or more money or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't spend any time enjoying the gift that you have, that no one can take from you.
Right.
That was given to you alone to enjoy. Nobody else can enjoy it for you.
Right.
And if you don't enjoy it, it's a wasted gift.
Yeah.
And so where's the time that you spend saying, okay, well, let the world be the world it is. Everything in the world is changing. I get that. I accept that. I don't have to control all of it. Sometimes we try to control everything that is uncontrollable, because change, everything that change will keep changing.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that can't change will change. Everything that won't change is what can't.
Yeah.
So where's the place where we get our rest and our comfort and our joy in a place that is within us, that is not reactive? And then the question becomes, can I stay in that place when I hear all of the disaster stuff?
Right.
Because that's when you're free.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean? That means you have to stay in your place. First, you have to learn how to get there.
Right.
Then you have to get good at going there. And then you have to get good at staying there at the same time that you're dealing in the world of change.
Yeah.
And then you can see, okay, they did this and they did that and they did this and they did that. And you know what? All of this stuff that people are doing that is hurting the planet, that is hurting the society, that is hurting everything, they're doing it in a place of peace that is everywhere. The war is taking place in peace.
Yeah.
That's what we're putting into peace.
Yeah.
Why don't we put peace into peace?
Right.
But we're putting enmity and war into peace.
Yeah. Because
the entire universe is filled with peace.
Right.
And that's not going to change. It's kind of like space, like a galaxy explodes. Well, space is not affected.
Right.
Right? Space is just where it happens. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And then if you look outside, okay, the leaves on the trees are flapping in the breeze, right? But you look at the space between the trees, as well as the space within the trees. That space is space that is not affected by anything that's going on.
Yeah.
That's pieces like that.
Right.
Right? So if you can be in your connection with peace, then you can live in this crazy world and stay in peace.
Right.
And that's really is the goal. It's called simultaneous presence. Inside present, outside present. Inside peace, outside change.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of it, because your mind changes, your body changes, the environment changes, people change. So that's all the world of change. Your emotions change.
Right.
But the love is constant. The peace is constant. So you can enjoy the drama of change as entertainment,
right,
from a completely safe, whole, comfortable, quiet place, and you could literally say, oh wow, even to everything. Right, to everything that's changing. Oh wow, I didn't know it could change like that. Right. And how do you fix all the things that are changing in a negative way? Bring more peace and bring more love into those situations. There's no other way to do it.
Right.
And we will not fix what needs to be fixed on the planet if we don't first find the fix within ourselves.
No, I think
from
that's
that place
true.
of peace, from that place of love. If we don't do that first, then we're just going to do greenwashing and all of that stuff. We're going to pretend we're addressing the problems, and we're not addressing them, because in behind it, we're deceiving people.
Yep.
And so
No,
only
and
peace can get us to peace, and only love can get us to love.
Yeah. Well, and when you come across people that are living in that, like you know it, because those are the people that you're like, wow, they're always, they don't ever seem to be affected by the world.
Well, for people who are really seeking the peace and the love, they get attracted to those people.
Yeah.
But if you're busy living in reaction, you might not even notice.
Right.
But certainly, if you're looking for peace and love, you will be attracted to people who exude what you're looking for, and people will follow those people.
Right.
That's why people followed the masters. There was something about them that was very cool.
Yeah.
Right. And me, I started feeling heartache when I was 17. I couldn't shake it. I couldn't find any distractions, and I didn't know what it was. And it was like it took 13 years of constantly feeling heartache, trying to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
That's how long it took before I heard the peace you search for in the world is within you, and I can reveal you that peace. So took 13 years. Yeah. So I'm an expert on heartache. If you got 13 years in heartache, you know a lot about heartache.
Right.
Right. And of course, it came out of a war and losing everything, and then not knowing, and getting disconnected from myself, because life, if you think about it, life took perfect care of me through the war,
right,
with the bullets flying, and the refugee trip where the communists were chasing us in tanks and trucks, and the Allies, we like to think of them as the good guys, they were shooting at us from planes. Right. On roads that were dirt roads, no military presence, horse-drawn hay wagons, women with young children, they were just shooting at them. Right. And so then I got abandoned through all of that, all of the dramas and traumas in my life and in anybody's life, in your life, in anybody's life who's living on the planet. And everybody gets trauma and drama. Right. Of some kind, no matter where you come from and no matter how fancy your upbringing was, there's always dramas and traumas. Yeah. In behind the dramas and traumas, life took perfect care of you 24/7, every day. Yeah. And will continue to do that through all the coming traumas that you're going to go through. Right. So doesn't it make, and I didn't realize till I was 26, oh my God, I've been bitching about the war, and I've been bitching about all my, I'm a real good bitcher. You have no idea how well I can bitch. You can tell me anything, I'll tell you what's wrong with it. Right? Yeah. I'm really good at it. And I've realized through all of that, something took perfect care of me, and I've never given it any acknowledgement. Yeah. And it seems to me that maybe it's been a pretty good friend to me, so maybe it's not a bad idea that I should make friends with it. Right. Get to know it a little better. It's been good to me. And that was, for me, was one of the big turnarounds. Yeah. The other one was my sister took me aside one day, and she says, Udo, we agree with you in all the stuff you bitch about. But the problem with you is you only bitch, you don't make anything better. Oh, yeah. And that's why I actually made Oils with Health in Mind, because that so set me on my ass. Yeah. Oh my God, that's true. All I do is bitch. Yeah. Oh my God. And so, and of course that gets acknowledgement. It's a good way to get attention. You bitch about something, that's like crisis, right? Yep. So I got lots of attention for it. Yeah. But then it was like, and everybody does it. And so there were people who were bitching about the damage done to oils. Yeah. But they were just bitching about it. Right. And I got to a point, because of my sister, where I said, okay, I know what's wrong with it. And instead of bitching about it, why don't I see if I can do it right? Yeah. And so that was, so it's harder. It's more work to make it right than to talk about what's wrong.
Talk about what's wrong. Yeah.
And in psychology, they told us, when people complain, two things. One is they know what would be better. Mm-hmm. And two is they want somebody else to do it for them. So it's a matter of it's basically a matter of awareness.
Right.
And it's a matter of laziness.
Yeah.
Because to make oils with health in mind is harder than to bitch about oils not being made with health in mind.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so then the energy has to go not into the bitching. You want to make something different? Well, what would it look like? What would it look like to have a society that ran on peace and love?
Yeah.
Well, why did you start building it?
Yeah.
Well, what would need to be in place? And then when you start to take that on, then you start to learn as you go along what you need to learn to get it done.
Right. Well, and like you said earlier, it all starts with inside you, right? And it's
all inside of you.
That's a big thing that, a lot of people don't like change. We talked about, things are changing all around us and it's going to continue to change. And when we don't like change ourselves, but that's where we've got to start.
But then you won't look in you what isn't changing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then it's okay, when you do that, because your heartache it means sit down with it, feel it, find your way behind it, because that far behind it, is your wholeness.
Right.
And then in that wholeness, how do you bring that to expression?
Yeah.
In your environment, in your home, with other people, in the way you interpret the changes in the world,
right.
In what you becomes your philosophy for living.
Right.
So how you talk to people and then what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Will that change? If I'm at peace and my wife has a bad day, I'm probably not going to hit her.
Right.
Right. If I'm in peace and she has a bad day, I may actually be able to listen to what she has to say, to see how I can help.
Right.
And then to offer that help.
Right.
Right. But if I'm as frazzled as she is, we might well end up in a shit fight.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how
it all starts. Yeah.
It's not complicated. Your state of being, whatever your state of being or your emotional state you're in, it will automatically come to expression.
Yeah.
So you want something better out there, you need to find something better in here to build it from.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's job one on the planet these days, I think.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And I think that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast, is to help people try and figure out how to heal themselves with whatever the issue is. And digging inside themselves is one of those things that I think a lot of people are scared to do.
Yeah, because they've been told they're evil. They've been told they're evil, but evil. If you've been told by someone that you're evil, you need to understand that the person is expressing their own state of being, not yours.
Right.
So evil people will give you evil. Will make you evil. Yeah. Right. And certainly the church has done. I'm a sinner, right? But you know what? The master lives inside of every human being. Mm-hmm. We're not in touch with it.
Right.
So sin means missing the point.
Yep.
If the point is to be in touch with the master within you, mm-hmm. and then to live like the master, well, then sin is not doing that.
Right.
Okay. Then start doing it, because that's how the sin gets disappeared.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Very true.
Kingdom of, and what did they say? If you think about it, the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Right.
That's one.
Yep.
Seek first the kingdom,
mm-hmm.
and then everything else will fall into place.
Right.
That's basically the message, right?
Right.
So how do you first seek the kingdom? Well, if it's within you, you got to look inside.
Yep.
You got to bring the focus inside.
Yeah.
Right. They all said that.
Yep.
Right. Buddha said, the cause of suffering is attachment.
Mm-hmm.
And, you could say it's attachment to the wrong thing, because to be attached to love and peace is good. Right. But if you're attached to what's going on out there, and then it doesn't happen because it changes, it doesn't happen the way you want it to happen. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, then you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
I wanted this to happen, but that's happening. Yeah. Right. And so, and the same thing, Krishna said, the Lord lives within you. Mm-hmm. Hello?
Yep.
You want to get close to the secret of the universe?
Right.
You gotta look inside, because you can't see it in me, but you can find it in yourself.
Yep.
Everybody
and
got.
it even takes the body as the temple, right?
Body's a
Like,
temple. Yeah.
what's
Who
inside the
lives in the
temple?
temple?
Yeah.
Who lives in the temple?
Yep.
The
So
devil.
it's like
Right? Yeah, I mean, that's how crazy it is, right?
right.
No,
Right.
what lives in the temple? The thing that manifests you, that keeps you alive, that sustains 60 trillion cells,
Yep.
knows how to take a molecule of folic acid to a cell in your left ankle that needs it.
Yeah.
Who's doing that? That's not the
Right.
devil.
Right.
Something incredible is taking care of you.
Yep.
Why would you not want to get to know that? Because somebody put something in your head that you're bad.
Yeah.
And the truth is, if you are life, there has never, ever been anything wrong with you.
Right.
Other than getting disconnected from life.
Yeah.
And so sit through the heartache.
Yeah.
I think that's what people are afraid of.
Yeah.
Still, I feel restless. I feel empty. Something's missing. I feel longing. I feel yearning. It's powerful. Those are all just other words for heartache. I've got 10 pages of words for heartache.
Yeah.
Because I'm an expert on heartache, right?
Yeah. Well,
right?
and I think the other thing is that people like, the traumatic experiences of whether it's reliving those emotions or reliving, or identifying themselves as I'm this person who,
I'm the result of the trauma.
Had that happen to me, right? And so but dealing with it, I can see
those
where
are just
sitting in it and dealing with it, then you can disassociate yourself from that event that happened.
Right.
And then become back to the whole person.
Yeah, the thing is that the trauma is now a memory.
Right.
And the memory is just in your head.
Yeah.
Okay. And then sometimes from your head, the memory has effects on your body.
Yep.
But it does not affect the love that is the energy that you are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect the peace. Those are not affected by any drama or any trauma. So find your way to those, and then you can literally wash all of that shit out.
Right.
Whether it's physical tension or mental concepts, you can literally wash them out, because now you have a different experience, and let that experience take over your existence.
Yeah.
Because that is the power that is your existence.
Yep.
So let your existence take over your focus. And then it's like when I'm feeling quiet, like between when I'm listening to you, I'm feeling the quiet, because I'm really quiet. I'm not thinking when I'm listening, right? So I'm feeling the quiet, and that quiet fills my entire being. Yeah. Right. That's awesome. So I'm exhibit A for, at least exhibit A in my life. Yeah. For what is possible. Right. And how cool is it? It's like, and I'm grateful for the war that focused me very early on how important this is. Yeah. Life is. Connection to life is. Yeah. Sitting with heartache is.
I mean, because it's all we've got.
It's all
we've got. Right? You only have one life.
Yeah.
Right? You only have one body.
Well, yeah, that is your realist reality.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I want to be respectful of your time. I think we could probably talk for a couple more hours, but
we could.
It's been great having you on. How can people connect with you, and learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel, and what else am I on? LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. Okay. And I have two websites. One is for the products, which we haven't talked about, which maybe we can do another time.
Sure.
That's called udoschoice.com. Okay. And I have another website where I talk about all the other things that I think are really important. It's udoerasmus.com. Cool. And if you look at Udo Erasmus on Google, I'm on the first page, because my name is so strange that I have very little competition for name.
I can imagine.
Yeah, Udo Erasmus. So if you spell it right in the show notes, then I will not be hard to find.
Yep, awesome.
So.
Well, yeah, and I'll link all that stuff up so people can get to you pretty easily and quickly. And yeah, I mean it's been great. I've learned a good deal, and that's the important thing for me, is that like I'm always looking for how can I improve myself.
Yeah.
Because I know, and I think everybody should be, and if we can improve ourselves, then everybody gets better as a benefit, right?
What's cool about it, I've been doing this for 52 years, this practice. I'll tell you the story about how that started sometime if you want, but I have never seen the bottom of it. I don't know how deep it goes. I think it's infinite. I don't think there will ever be a bottom to it, so I will always be a work in progress. But I love the progress, and I love what I'm finding, and I love what it feels like to be alive.
That's awesome.
There's the gift.
Yeah, and that is the gift, and that's what everybody should feel, right?
Yeah,
everybody should feel that love.
That's not what everybody should feel. That's what everybody can feel.
Right.
You want it, you can have it. Right. Yep. I'm not the should guy. You know, in psychology, you say stop shitting on people. Stop shitting on people.
Right.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice? I mean, I wish that for 8 billion people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where they come from or what the history is or what their stories are.
Yeah.
They have this incredible gift of being alive, and they only have it for 100 years if they're lucky.
Right.
Before that, nothing. After that, nothing.
Yeah.
But they have it now.
Mm-hmm.
Full-fledged.
Yep.
And there's nobody holier than anybody else.
Right.
There's nobody wholer than anybody else. Mm-hmm. We all have that same gift.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
It is. It's so awesome. And if we could get there, imagine what 8 billion people could do.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. So, well, thank you again, Udo. It's been a great conversation.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks for letting me rant.
Of course.
Thanks for checking out the Confidence Through Health podcast. Please subscribe, post a review, share this episode with those you love who need a little extra help with their health journey. Visit allinhealthandwellness.com to learn more about the coaching programs that I provide. All episodes are produced by the Social Media Cowboys, your source for all online marketing needs. Go to socialmediacowboys.com for more information.